Now that Jana Duggar is at last free after years of family strife and absence from friends once again, hypothesizing if Jan's most recent marriage and newly discovered independence could have took the two sisters nearer May. This marked the start of a fresh, sisterly link. We'll investigate the newest updates and speculative ideas on their changing connection. Just ahead, we have a really poignant narrative as Jill Duggar lately opened about her loss after sorting her pregnant go bag in line with the terrible loss of her daughter. Jill has freely shared her miscarriages in the past, and her sincere mirror reflections are connecting with so many others that have walked a like road. We will investigate more closely on her road of loss and fortitude. And in other Duggar news, Jessa Duggar is generating news after a reticent response. A supporter who ventured beyond the line by conjecturing she is pregnant based simply on one family picture. Let's dissect it. Precisely what transpired and why this. Jessa didn't find agreement in assumption. At last we are addressing Jinger Duggar Vuolo, who is revealing on family schedules and the likelihood of growing her family, patiently awaiting it. Given twins, might Jinger and Jeremy be the next Duggar couple joining the twin parent club? Let's explore her most latest podcast and hear what she had to say. So, lot to discuss today. Let us start with August. Jana Duggar shocked everybody around, softly tying the knot with Stephen Wisman, noting a major turning point for the oldest Duggar, 34 years old. Daughter has long been regarded as the overworked sibling caretaker for her younger brothers instead of following a marriage similar to many of her sisters. Her wedding arrived with hardly no public. One item caught my attention, however. Ginny Duggar showed up even with her well-known separation from several family members. The appearance of Jill begged questions about this. Only serves as a formal look or has more significance than just attendance. Points to an indication that at last, sisters are fixing their romance even in front of a wedding, particularly one with a 500-person guest count. List does not always signify all of this is settled. Among the supporters are those who aspirational following all. Jill has been the one with whom the Black Ducks of the Duggar family for years, apart from her parents and their ardent fundamentalist opinions. Jana, on the other hand, should be Jim Bob's daughter, with right hands, compliant and somewhat interested in raising her younger cousins. Despite Jan's marriage to Stephen Wisman violated numerous Duggar for one of the couple's family expectations included involvement, a thing many people suspect. Once known for harmony, traditional values, and a big home full of happy faces, the Duggar family has changed significantly recently. The well-known stars of the now-cancelled TLC reality program 19 Kids and Counting have watched their lives change as their children grew up and, sometimes, made choices against the family's strongly ingrained customs. Among these differences, fans and tabloids both have focused on the poor relationship between Jana Duggar and Jill Duggar. Now, however, many people are left wondering if the sisters have reconciled, given the rumors surrounding Jana's recent wedding. And Jessa Duggar is speaking up in a household where any debate usually results in a reaction. Under Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, the Duggar family was formerly seen as the pinnacle of conventional Christian morals. Having 19 children, homeschooled, dressed modestly, and followed rigorous courting guidelines, the family adhered to a set of conservative values that drew both praise and condemnation. But as the kids have grown older, some have plotted separate paths that cause conflict within the family. Particularly Jill Duggar has been at the heart of this family conflict. Having married Dillard in 2014, Jill has turned away from the basic values of the Duggar family, particularly those supported by her father, Jim Bob. Derek has been outspoken about the patriarchal family's dominating behavior, even implying financial exploitation in connection with their reality TV notoriety. The distance between Jill and her parents grew as she and Derek started making choices that gave their independence first priority, abandoning the TLC program, deciding on alternate parenting techniques, and sending their children to public school. Conversely, Jana Duggar has traditionally been the dependable, unwavering daughter in the family. She stayed single significantly longer than her sisters as the oldest Duggish daughter, which sparked years of conjecture about why Jana hadn't yet courted or married. Some supporters even claimed Jana took care of the family, therefore facilitating the run the home, and raise her younger brothers. She remained, at least outwardly, faithful to her family and their principles through everything. Jill and Jana were considered for years as diametrically opposed. Jana was the good daughter, apparently happy with the status quo, while Jill was seen as the rebel wanting independence. Many people have wondered if the two sisters might ever close their distance from one another. Following years of fan conjecture, Jana Duggars shocked the globe in late 2023 with her news of her engagement and later wedding. Long invested in Jana's love life, or lack thereof, fans were ecstatic and shocked to see that the oldest Duggar daughter had at last married. Jana's wedding was much awaited, yet her relationship and involvement had been kept somewhat quiet, a far cry from how the Dougie family usually conducted these affairs. Many questioned whether this turning point in Jana's life would provide the Duggar family, especially between her and Jill, a uniting event. Attending Jana's wedding, Jill and Derek did really show that there could be hope for reconciliation. For many, this public show was a hopeful indication the sisters were healing relationships. Weddings are, after all, frequently a time of healing and unity, and the Duggar family had a history of ignoring disagreements for big family gatherings. Still, the fact that Jill was there did not always indicate a complete healing. Some supporters conjectured that Jill's visit was more out of family duty than a real indication of rebuilt sisterly closeness. Was this only a courtesy on Jill's side, or might this be the start of a new chapter for the sisters? Where there is conjecture, as always with the Duggar family, there is always public reaction. This time, it came from Jessa Duggar Seewald, another of the Duggars. When the family finds itself in the public crossfire, Jessa, who has stayed tightly inside the conservative group, has frequently assumed the role of the mediator or defender. Jessa addressed the speculations on social media after Jana's wedding and the natural whirl around the status of Jill and Jana's relationship. Jessa made it quite plain in an Instagram post that the way the Dougie family's relationships, especially those involving Jana and Jill, were portrayed by the public was sometimes erroneous or overdone. People like creating drama in which none exists, Jessa said. We are family and adore one another. Like any family, we have our disagreements, and nevertheless, we are not as split as many would have you believe. Many saw Jessa's statement as an effort to minimize the allegations of family strife by implying that although disagreements exist, they are not insurmountable. But several supporters saw her remarks as a diversion, aimed to preserve the family's reputation rather than provide any actual analysis of the present relationship between Jana and Jill. After Jana's wedding, then are Jana and Jill Duggar friends once more? The answer is probably more nuanced than a yes or a no. Although Jill's attendance at the wedding is encouraging, it is abundantly evident that the connection between the sisters and the family overall is still under development. Bound by their public scrutiny, religion, and common past, the Duggars are a family. They are people with unique lives, ideas, and priorities, but also, tension has surely resulted from Jill's path away from the family's rigid customs. Even if Jana's wedding would have brought them together physically, emotional healing is typically a harder process.